Hi, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Harald.
We're playing in a band called Imminence, and you are watching Chaoszine.
Okay, so hello everyone, Chaoszine is today here at the Icehall of Helsinki, Finland, and I have Eddie and Harald from Imminence as guests. How are you guys?
Pleasure to be here. We're good.
Really good. Wonderful to be in Finland finally.
And you took the party boat to come to Finland.
Yes, we
How
did.
was it? Was it a party boat or sleeping boat?
They made it the party, but I had to go to bed early. But
Yeah, it was incredible. Let's
so you were the last people to wake up in the morning when it arrived.
Maybe.
But you are first time in Finland.
Yeah, we're so excited to be here.
And overall, I guess this has been like a very successful tour to everybody involved.
Yeah, it's been an incredible tour so far.
So how did it feel to be playing with In Flames? I guess that's like probably the most legendary Swedish band.
yeah, it is. I mean, especially for us, we've been to school together. We've been knowing each other for a really long time. And when we were in high school as kids, growing up in southern Sweden, I mean, In Flames, they were the band. They were the biggest thing that we knew. I mean, and our favorite band, obviously, and probably the one that, even if we're not in the same genre, like probably the one that influenced us the most. Like, made us wanting to do what we do as a band. Like hands down, 100%. And I think it started about maybe in September last year when Anders had shared the artwork for one of our singles, like on his personal profile.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were like,
That was something, I guess.
Yeah.
what the hell? Because we didn't know the guys at all,
Okay.
And from there on, one thing led to another, and then we were presented with the tour offer, say that, the band would really be interested in having you on the bill.
Yeah.
And so it's been incredible.
And
Yeah,
you said
it was
that
really-
why not? We'll have to think about it, but maybe we'll join you if you ask nicely.
Playing hard to catch.
No, it was really a dream coming true. And being on the tour as well has been so good. And the guys are all super nice and welcoming and friendly. So it's been great in every way.
This is sort of like Swedish dynamite tour because every band is Swedish on the bill.
Yeah.
Does that give like extra comfort since you are from the same country? Do you feel that way, that you're sort of like camaraderie is
I mean,
playing shows?
it's definitely easier in terms of communication, but obviously there's members from In Flames are American, and we have all of our crew is like German, and so there's a lot of international people on the tour in general. But we're sharing a bus with Orbit Culture, and it's also been really, really incredible. We made a really good bond with the guys right from the start, and it makes it easier when you speak the same language, I guess.
So were you already friends with them before this tour, or was
No.
this the first time that you actually met up with them as well?
Yeah.
How was it with At the Gates guys? Did you know them beforehand?
No, not them either. But
Okay.
every band and everyone on this tour has been so nice from the start. So
But I guess that's also a Scandinavian mentality. Everybody's quite chilled in Scandinavia when it comes to like metal musicians. They're quite easygoing.
Yeah,
100%.
in general, I would say that too.
Yeah.
But I just love to sit there and just hear like At the Gates and In Flames talk to each other. Because they known each other since like their school days, pretty much as we grew up. And they had these old memories like when they were riding like their bus to school or whatever, and they talked about how they found their music and whatever.
They are so close, like Dark Tranquility, In Flames,
All
At
of
the
these
Gates.
bands.
Those bands are like very close to each other.
Yeah.
So I think that bringing like two more established older bands and two more like newer bands, it gives something to the whole package.
Yeah.
I feel that it really does, and we're all Swedish, and there's something about it.
So you dropped Heaven in Hiding album like last November.
Yeah.
And obviously you have now been playing new songs live during this year. So how has it been overall? What kind of feedback have you received?
I mean, I think it's been the best year we've ever done in our career as a band, and the response to the new songs has been overwhelming.
Are you
for
in
us.
general the kind of guys who follows what media writes about your band, or do you try to stay away from the reviews and such? Do you read them or?
No, I read them.
Okay.
if they're in a language and it's not
you
not
understand what they're writing about.
and not a PDF file which is non-translatable. So
yeah. But you won't use like Google Translate to figure out what Indian. You would.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. That's
I think
very
it's
nice.
interesting. You know, it doesn't take anything away from you as a creator, really. But I think it's interesting to see what other people are thinking about it.
So obviously you wrote the album during the COVID time.
Yeah.
So what kind of experience it was for you, and what kind of experience the whole COVID time was for the band?
We came off our Turn the Light On album tour just before the pandemic hit. So we were home maybe 2-3 weeks before it actually happened.
So it was sort of good timing for you. If it's like never a good timing, it was.
If you could put it in a way, we were really lucky with that.
Like
so
In Flames guys went to Australia, had one beer, and had to head home.
Yeah,
that's true story.
Yeah.
So it's like that was like the worst possible sort of time when you are starting something and you have to go home.
So for us, we had planned to start the writing process anyway, but it just meant that we had more time to dedicate to writing the new songs and really delve into the album, you know.
And not just time. It's like when you take that away, the element of touring and being out there connecting and meeting your fan base, you know, really, and also meeting a new audience. When all of that is sort of taken away from you, you're doing it for such a long time as we have, then there's nothing else really to focus on. I mean, for us at least, I think that's what we had. It's like sort of a nice place to go to, because you didn't know when all this would end.
Yeah.
You know, how long would this be taken away from us? Because we all love touring and playing live. It's one of the greatest things that we know, obviously, and why we chose this lifestyle. So going into writing, and that's like where you could just pour out all that energy and all that also like worry in terms of like what the hell's gonna happen to us and to the touring industry. And so it was really meaningful time to write an album.
So was it like a easy time to be creative, or was it like difficult time to be creative because everything was sort of like slowed down and world was sort of like living in some kind of slow motion in a way?
I felt that it kind of fueled the creativity a bit for us. We were really actively writing and without any like problems at all. It was a really great album to write.
So do you also feel that it was good time that you had the time to sort of also perfect the songs and you didn't have to sort of like rush it and get it done and get on the next tour, that you had basically all the time in the world you wanted to do it like as good as you possibly can?
Yeah, absolutely.
And just try to do what we wanted also.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were experimenting a lot.
I would say so. I would say so. In a way, like I think it was the most effortless album to write that we've done so far.
Yeah.
Like we wrote things that came to us, you know. There was no pressure that we should maybe try to adapt it in this way or that way, and we just could go by our own intuition pretty much.
But does the process always work for you that way? Do you always follow the intuition, or do you have a sort of like goal in your mind when you are heading to the writing process that we wanna go heavier maybe this time around?
I think that every album process has been different for us, but we've always gone with our intuition, you know, and followed the creativity for that process.
Okay, so it's always sort of a little bit different what you do.
Yeah, I mean, we never really think about, you know, what is in the first hand. We don't think what people are gonna think about it. In the first hand, we think what we think about the music and how we want it to be presented.
The band's music has always been quite diverse, so how important is that aspect for you, that you are sort of pushing the boundaries even further in both directions?
I think that goes hand in hand with what I said, that we kind of like to follow our intuition, whatever it may be. So for us, it's more important that the new songs, they speak to us creatively and emotionally, and then we see where we go from that, you know.
So when you finished the album, did you already started working with the next one at the same time, or did you stop like the creative process there, or what kind of time period it was for you?
I would say though the creative process didn't stop there, as we followed up as we always do, like with a couple of acoustic tracks, or as we say, reimagined tracks.
Okay.
Like we rewrite them, and usually it's in acoustic format, but not necessarily. Not all of them, but a few of them. You know, that we put out now, a couple of acoustic singles that we also toured with. You know, that was actually before they were released, but we did an acoustic tour in Germany. And we always do that, and we sort of, it gets you another perspective. You can just go through your material again and look at it from another point of view, sort of.
So I was actually going to ask you next, that did that change the perspective how you go into writing process?
Yeah, I think for us it's become like I wouldn't say creative break, because we use that time creatively to reimagine our own songs, but in terms of writing new music, it's kind of a time for us to pause and to reflect and just let it be for a while. While we can still focus on doing something creative with our music.
Do you feel that you always need that kind of time? So you sort of have the time to see how the new songs reflect with the audience, and what you learn them probably by playing them live, and that kind of like experience before you go into the next one?
I definitely think it affects the way you think about music and the way you write it. You know, what works well with your fan base and everything. But like I said, it's in the first place it's about ourselves. But of course, if a song works really well to perform live, then it gives you also a greater feeling to perform it.
But I feel that for us, it's not really the way to necessarily go from writing one album right into the next one. You know, at least not up until this point, because our music is very personal, and it's very meaningful to us, and it feels like we don't write songs just because we have to, even though it's nice to be creative. And so I think we need to gather, you know, we need to take in you know, your own development and your own journey personally, you know, things that you experience and go through, and process that a bit, and then, you know, there might be enough to tell in terms of a whole new album, you know. And it needs to have content, you know. It has to be like emotional content and whatever it is, and we tend to go into the next writing process when we are ready for it, I think.
Do you feel that album format is like the right format for you, or have you discussed about like just doing the Bring Me the Horizon way, that they are just like dropping singles of different styles and sort of like experimenting more and just putting out like smaller entities of music at once?
I think it's important to kind of, for me, it's an important format to, you know, sum up that cycle of songs, and it could be released in different ways. Like you said, we already did, you know, have a pretty long rollout this or last year with the singles, and so before the album came. But you know, you kind of want to put it together, because it's one phase and one cycle and one story that you want to tell. So I think it's a nice way to close that chapter before you can take the next one.
I feel really, as you mentioned, like a storytelling, that I think Imminence will always be about some sort of storytelling, not just in the video format, but also what this phase is about, really. You know, it has, you know, it has a starting and an ending somehow. You know, there is a line that just runs through that era in a way.
Do you feel that COVID era somehow affected the latest album, like those times, and do you feel that somehow reflected on the album?
Yeah, I think it did in a way, like the way we were personally affected by the pandemic, and it was kind of a time where you went into yourself, and you were shut off from most of everything else, and music was kind of the escape for us. Like Harald said before, you know, I had days where I thought, like, what if we're never gonna play live ever again?
Yeah.
You know?
Or live stream shows.
Yeah.
Did you actually play them?
We did a live recording, so it wasn't like streamed live, but it was a live take recording of 4 songs or 5 in the church. that we did acoustically, because our first when we announced the acoustic tour from the beginning, that was supposed to happen in 2020.
Okay.
And this was obviously postponed, so we did this thing as a little thing for our fans, to show our appreciation.
But it was nothing we charged money for.
No.
So.
Yeah. So, year is about to get over, and obviously, a lot of medias have listed their favorite albums of the year. So, are there like some albums from this year that you have been listening to a lot that you could mention here?
I listened. So from 22.
Yeah, this year. If there is some new album that you have been listening to a lot.
I listened a lot to Blood Moon by Rai X. It's not been a year where I listened to a great amount of music, I have to be honest.
Was the Don Rocker album released this year? Or was it last year? I don't remember if it was like this one particularly.
Yeah.
I can remember. I mean, albums in that way. I'm not sure. I've been listening to new songs from Jose Gonzalez, for example. You dropped some new ones this year that I really liked. But albums in that sense.
That's sometimes very tough. You have to check out that what has actually come out this year.
Yeah. I also really love the album Cuts from Port Noir. Came out. Our friends in Port Noir.
Yeah, they put it out. That's true.
It's a really great album.
Yeah.
So, before we wrap things up, a little bit about the future. What does it hold? What kind of plans do you have? Will you write new music? Will you tour next year? What kind of plans do you have?
What is on the schedule right now is that we have a couple of festivals for next summer. That is confirmed. The rest is a little bit open. We'll have to see what we're going to do in the spring and the fall.
We can say that we are coming back to Finland, though.
Yeah. This is something we were going to announce today on the stage.
Okay, cool.
So we're coming back to Helsinki and Tampere in April.
Okay, nice.
And I think we're ready for a new cycle, so we're going to get into writing again.
And then drop the album sometime when you're ready with that.
Yeah.
Future.
Yeah.
At some point.
It has to be, you have to let the process take its time.
Yeah. It's never good to rush things.
No.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys, for the chat, and good luck for tonight's show as well as for the future. Anything you want to say as a closer to the fans?
Well, thank you so much for having us today. It was really lovely, and of course, we're really looking forward to the show here, our first ever in Finland. And to the fans, we want to thank everyone from here that has been listening to us and supporting us over the years. We know it's been a long time for us to come here, so we're so excited to be back in April again.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.